Catamarans make great cruising vessels. If you consider a smaller one, you can keep the cost down. And there are some great smaller ones out there. Hi there, I'm Carolyn Sherlock, and on this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast, I'll share my list of the best small catamarans for cruisers. Give you a little information on each one of them. Maybe one of them is going to be the right boat for you. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Mantis Marine, maker of the Mantis Anchor, now available in models with and without a roll bar. They also have a brand new dinghy that is really cool. Lots of cruiser-friendly design features in it. Mantis Marine brings to market practical, durable, and affordable marine products, including their anchoring gear, dinghy, scuba diving accessories, and a rechargeable waterproof headlamp that I absolutely love. Visit mantismarine.com and see for yourself. Okay, well, let's talk about portable catamarans. Unfortunately for liveaboard cruisers interested in catamarans, the market is dominated by enormous, often very expensive, four-cabin, four-head charter models. Almost 40% of the market is Lagoon catamarans, and over 50% are either Lagoon or Fontaine Pajot. 90% of the market consists of catamarans over 38 feet. The majority of the catamarans are large, expensive, coming out of charter. Actually, about 40% of the buyers are looking for smaller, simpler, affordable catamarans that are under 38 feet in length. That's what Dave and I were looking for back in 2014 when we bought Barefoot Gal. So let's talk about what boats do fit into that category. And the first one is a Prout 37 Snowgoose. They're a blue water boat. They've got fixed keels. They've got a draft of just 2 feet. The mast height is 40-foot standard, or they have an elite with 50 foot. The bridge deck clearance is decent, not great, but decent. They have a 3-cabin, 1-head layout. They're slow. We'll give them that. Their engine is usually it's a single one. A few of them have twin outboards, and they are relatively easy to find. Ballpark price is going to cost you about $100,000 to get one. Next boat that you might want to look at is a Catalac 9-meter. And Catalac is not spelled like the car, it's Catalac. They were originally built for the North Sea, so for cooler waters and bigger seas. They've got fixed keels. Their draft is 2.5 feet. The nice thing about them is that they have a tabernacle mast, meaning that it can just be folded down. So they are great if you're in an area with a lot of bridges and so forth where you want to be able to go, say, up rivers and things like that. Bridge deck clearance, because they were built for larger seas, it's above average. And it's got 3-cabin, 1-head design. The other problem with them, of course, like a lot of them you're going to see here, is that they are slow. Typically have a single gas outboard. A few of them have twin inboard diesels. They are somewhat rare. There's usually a couple on the market, and they tend to be more available in Europe. I know Dave and I sort of had our eyes out for one, and we never did find one that was in an area where we were interested in looking. The nice thing about them is they're a little bit less money. You're probably going to find one for under $50,000. They're also, interior is just not quite as finely finished, I guess I'll say. The next one is a Lagoon. It's the Lagoon 37. It has a blue water pedigree, fixed keels with a draft of 4 foot, mast height of 55, above average bridge deck. You can get 3 or 4 cabin layouts, and it's considerably faster than all of the others. They are very rare to get. They're sort of a cult classic. And price is going to be over $100,000. I mean, if you get your hands on one, great boat. Next one I'd like to talk about is the PDQ 36 Capella. They're also a blue water boat. They have fixed keels. The draft is just under 3 foot, 2.8. Mast height is 47 feet for the standard, or 55 feet for their LRC, which is long range cruiser. Bridge deck clearance is about average. It's 2 or 3 cabin, 1 or 2 heads. They're a slower boat. Engines can be either a gas outboard or a diesel inboard. There's usually a few of them on the market. Price is going to cost you over $100,000. Let's talk next about the Seawind 1000. They're another nice blue water boat. Fixed keels, about 3-foot draft, mast height 47 feet, an average bridge deck clearance. They typically have 4 cabins, 1 head, galley down. They are fast, which makes them very in demand. Twin gas outboards, there's usually a few of them for sale. They are still being built. They were originally built in Australia, so you find more of them there. Price though, yeah, as always, that comes with it. They're going to be over $150,000, maybe even a little bit more than that. The next one is the Antigua 37. It is really a coastal cruising boat. It's not really built for blue water. Fixed keels, 3 1/3 feet, mast height of 55 feet, average bridge deck clearance, 4 cabins, or you may find one of the 2 cabin Maestro availability. Another fast boat. There's usually a couple in the market in the Caribbean. They typically go for $150,000 or more, even the older ones. Endeavour 36 is the next boat. Again, it's a coastal cruiser, fixed keels, just under 3-foot draft, 47-foot mast height, average bridge deck clearance, typically a 3 cabin. I talk a lot about the number of cabins. And the thing is that in these smaller cabins, 3 or 4 cabins, you're going to use at least one of those cabins for storage, maybe 2 of them. So don't be thinking that it's just got tons of space for friends and family to come visit. It's not. On our boat, we ended up using 1 cabin for general storage and 1 cabin for galley storage. Okay, the Endeavour 36, it's another slower boat. They're rare, but they are most often found in the U.S. A good $100,000, maybe a little more. The Mahi 36, M-A-H-E is Mahi. It's a coastal boat, got fixed keels, a little under 4-foot draft, and a 55-foot mast height. Bridge deck clearance is about average. It's got a couple of different layouts with 2 or 3 cabins. They are faster. That's nice. They're more available in the Caribbean. They're a little bit more common. They'll be anywhere up to $300,000 depending on the age of it. So they are definitely a more expensive boat, but they're very nice. Then there's the Gemini 105s like we had. There's an M and an MC. They are definitely a coastal boat, not a blue water. And they have centerboards. So you have a 2.5-foot draft with everything up. That's really nice. The centerboard's down. It's about a 5-foot draft. Mast height, 47 feet on the M or 48 with the MC. A little bit lower than average bridge deck clearance. You will get wave slap on them. They are a 3 cabin boat, but the second and third cabins the beds are actually narrower than a true double, so not even a queen. They're listed as being a fast boat. From our experience, we could usually motor at 6 knots. Sailing 6 knots was relatively easy to get. We could even sail when a reasonable speed, say 3 knots, when there was 5 knots of wind. Single inboard diesel with a retractable outdrive. They're pretty common in the southeastern U.S., particularly down in Florida. They're going to be around $100,000 for a nicely equipped one. You can get older ones for less than that, and also less well-equipped ones for less than that. The final one that I want to talk about is the Dean 365. Again, it's a coastal boat, fixed keels, 3-foot draft, 46-foot mast height. The bridge deck clearance again is below average. You're going to have wave slap, 3 or 4 cabin layouts. It's a slower boat. They're pretty rare, but if you find one, it's probably going to be $50,000 or less. Okay, I hope that this helps in giving you some ideas of boats to look at if you are looking for a catamaran. If you'd be like, look, catamarans have great living space. I mean, that's the really good thing about them is they're wonderful when you are on the hook or at the dock. But the part is that so many of them are so big that they're just out of the price range. If you look at some of these smaller ones, these 10 small catamarans, you will find some that will work for you. as long as you realize you're not going to have, necessarily space to have square dance in the salon, things like that. Our cockpit was good sized. I liked that about it. Other storage space was maybe a little bit limited, but we certainly didn't have any problems. We lived aboard for 10 years, no problem. Okay, that's it for this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast. Hope you're having a great time and enjoying it, learning something every time. Be sure to subscribe to us and tell your friends. Thanks so much.